No? Oh, okay. We are live. Hello,
Hello.
everybody. Well, probably you did miss the 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 change because we changed it like half an hour ago. We changed the time to an earlier time because it was a little bit more convenient for me because of some circumstances happening here in Mexico, and I was blessed enough that Chris uh, said yes to an earlier time and that it actually works out for her as well. So you see, when things are in flow, things work out for everybody. So that's really nice. Welcome, Chris, again. How are
Thank
you?
you. Welcome.
Are you well?
I am very well. Very, very well. And uh, yeah, information and awareness and things are wee coming like crazy at the moment. And the times goes very fast and the things are changing enormously. And for me, yeah, yeah, for me the changes are all positive. Yeah, sometimes things are not very nice, like having a bad eye, and then I had to go to the hospital. But yeah, but most of the things are nice, and it's positive, and I see the movement to more awareness, to things changing in a better way, and yeah, it gives me a lot of energy, and I'm happy. Yeah, and
Good
you?
to hear.
I am
Yeah,
very curious.
I'm okay. I'm good. I'm good. There's a lot of things happening here in this moment. The last week, I got confronted with a lot of fear things in my life. And so that was an interesting challenge to see what happened and how I would react to that. And so, if you like, I can go into a little bit more of detail. I don't know if you want to hear it.
Yeah, I'm very interesting to hear what you have to what you have experienced. Yes, yes, because it's a beautiful example from someone with the freelance profile. Because those people they experience things in life, and guys, yeah, she can inform us. She's has the yellow energy field, so she can inform us about one of the experiencing things in life. So feel free to inform us.
Thank you, Chris. Yes, well, yeah, like you said, I'm a three, and I have to experience things, and I actually like it now. Before I even knew this existed, I was always really like my heels in the sand, and I was always like, oh, I don't want to experience challenges in life. I just want life to be easy and whatever. But now I understand that it's part of me. I need to experiment, but I need to really go through something to learn from it. And I'm the proverbial donkey sometimes also because I can go through things like two, three times in a little bit different way. But now I understand that it is for me to learn from. So yeah, it's an interesting journey to say the least.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so I the last couple of the last week actually, fear showed up in my life big time, and I was like, okay, this is interesting because fear is a thing I believe now in the world that's a very huge energy that is roaming around,
yes,
and I was like, okay, how am I going to react to certain stuff when I'm faced with fears again? Because I felt so happy the last couple of months that fear gets like somewhere back in your mind. You're not conscious of it anymore, and you're like, oh, I overcome it or something like that. You get a little bit cocky, like, oh, I don't have fear, blah 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 blah. Well, people, surprise, surprise, you can feel fear still if you're in flow. That was my mind, of course, talking to myself, like, yo, you don't have fear, and blah, blah, blah. So, what happened was last Friday, we went for dinner with a couple of friends, and then afterwards, we went to a bar. And uh, I want to make that story as short as possible because it's not really interesting. So what happened was, in this bar they poured these big margaritas. So I had ordered one, and then all of a sudden all the lady friends that I was with decided all to just leave. And I was like, I just ordered this big ass margarita, and I'm like, I have paid for it. I'm Dutch, you know. If you pay for it, you need to consume it. So I was like, I'm gonna stay here until it's finished. So I was alone, and I was sitting outside because it was again a beautiful day here, or night actually, and all of a sudden I felt in my body something, I don't know, an uneasiness. I think it's the best way to describe it. And like some kind of uneasiness in my body going on. And I was like, what's that about? You know, I'm having fun. There's nice music. They had the 70s, 80s music. So I was dancing. And well, on my seat, I was dancing. And, and I was having fun with people walking by and whatever. And I was like, what's that? What's happening right now? And then I look to the right, and there's this guy in another bar, and he's sitting on a chair, and he was literally staring at me. So he was like sitting like this, and with his head like that, and he was staring right at me. And well, that's not something unusual, you know, that happens sometimes. But the first thing that I felt was like, there's something up with this guy. I don't know what, but there's something up with this guy. He had this. First, I thought he was drunk, really, really, really drunk, you know, that he was like looking at that. But then I was starting to get more, you know, in my body and yeah, just like, so I don't know. It's really hard to describe what happens in that moment, but I was like, no, it's not drunkenness. It's something else, but I couldn't pinpoint what it was. So sitting there, he actually, I was there for over an hour, and the whole hour he stared at me, and it got really creepy, and my all my senses were starting to get really, how do you call that in English? On alert. Everything,
Yeah.
you know, all the alarm bells went off, and I got this really bad vibe. And then he stands up. And I thought he was gone. So I was like, okay, I'm glad he's gone, because it was so, the alarm bells were so hard and loud that I was like, how am I going to get home without him noticing or whatever? Because I got scared, because the energy I felt was so dark, was so negative. And so I started to jump in my mind, and I started to see all these scenarios that could go wrong. You know, I was like, he's gonna follow me and murder me or rape me, or, you know, all those things went on in my head, and I started to get scared and more scared. And I was like, okay, I started to feel a little panic coming up, and I was like, I need to do something. So I called, or I texted my friend, and I made a picture of this guy, because I was like, if something happens, I want someone to know that this guy was doing this, you know, that maybe they need to look for him if something happens to me. So I started to approaching it really rational. And so I made a picture and I sent it to her. And she almost immediately responded back, and she was like, get the hell out of there, because I get a very, very bad vibe from this guy. And I said, yeah, I hear you. I feel exactly the same. I said, but I'm just like in sort of panic mode, you know, your brain fries and you don't know exactly what to do. And I was like, what do I do and how do I do it? And you know, what would you do? So she said, well, just ask the waiter that he escorts you to the Uber, and that he keeps an eye out that the guy doesn't follow you and whatever. But because of that information, I got even more scared, because I was like, oh, now it's serious, you know, now it's getting serious. So then all of a sudden it was like someone was hitting me over the head, and I believe it's my spirit guide or whatever, but something was like, come on, get into your body again, get out of your head, get into your body again. So I was like, okay, I'm not doing anything right now. I'm just sitting, and I started to focus on my body, started to get myself back in my body. And so I took my time, and in that time, he came back. And so then you get the whole uh, thing with mind, body, because your mind is racing like, oh, he's back. Oh, now it's getting serious. Look at how he's looking at you, and blah 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 blah. So and then I started, no, I want to be in my body. I want to be in my body. So I really consciously made that decision to be in my body and get out of my head. And while I was doing all that, he walked past me. He walks into the bar, and I'm like, okay, he's really bold for just, coming so close to me, because the energy fields could touch each other, and I felt that it was really bad. And so he went inside, then he came outside, and he looked at me straight in the eyes, and I was getting ice cold from top to bottom. And I was like, I need to get out of here, because this is really not good. So he walked past me, he sat down, he was sitting down closer to me this time. And then my friend got back to me again, and she was like, make a picture of this guy that's better, because the other picture you sent, it's a little bit blurry and whatever, so that if something would happen, that you have a clear picture. And I was like, okay. She says, just do it in a way that he notices that you are doing it, so that he's conscious of it. So I said, yeah, I will do that. And I I didn't do it immediately, because I was like, no, I want to feel when the moment is right. So I just sat there, and I still had fun with the waiters, and we were still like, doing crazy stuff. And then all of a sudden I get this urge to make a video instead of a photo. So I put my phone out, I made a video, and I sent it to my friend. So, like, here, this is the video, this is how he looks, and that's it. But I did it myself. I didn't look at the video, how it turned out, because I was like, I don't care actually. So then, like, within seconds again, she called me, and she was like, this is freaky, and I so creepy. And I said, what are you talking about? She says, how he looks at you in the video. And I was like, how he looks at me in the video? What do you mean? And she says, didn't you see the video? I was like, no, I wasn't seeing the video, because I was unconspicuously, I don't know if that's the word, but I had the phone like that, and I was just busy doing this. So I didn't see what I was recording, literally. So I went back to the video, and I started looking at it. And the guy was sitting like behind the wall. And every time he peeked out his head, and then he would look straight at me. But there are people walking past. So they walk through the field of between him and me. So then at some point, there's nobody walking there. He peeps around the corner, and then he really like reacts like that. And he stands up, looks at me again, and then he walks away. So, and in that moment that he he was not scared, but that he was like, how do you call that? I'm looking for the Dutch words, because maybe you can translate it, but also the Dutch word is not coming up. Oh, geschrokken.
He was, yeah, he was shocked, or
Yes, yeah. Well, let's keep it at shocked, because I think shocked is even worse than geschrokken. But
yeah,
yeah, he was like
frightened,
startled. Startled is that maybe the word.
startled. Okay.
Yeah, so he was like, and that was actually when I could see his eyes, because he was close, and they were like dead. It was like dead. It was such a, yeah, it was, everything in my body was like, no, you need to get away from this. So, but still, I was like, yeah, I'm not feeling how I should approach this. I knew that I needed don't confront him, or don't do anything like that, because I would have in the past, like, get the hell out of my face or whatever. But I felt that that was not the right path in that moment. So I trusted. I was like, okay, I don't want to let fear control my actions. I want to feel what I need to do. I know that in the moment I know what to do, so I just need to trust that. So you can imagine that there's this whole battle going on between your mind and the fear, and really tries to grip you. It's like a monster that grips your and wants to make you even more scared than you already are. So, and I was like, no, I don't want to go there. I want to be like in myself. I want to trust my instincts. I want to trust my intuition. I want to follow that, and I want to trust that the universe always got my back, even now when I'm scared. Well, I was not even really scared. It was more that I felt so unsafe. It was
Yeah.
literally that I felt unsafe.
Unsafe. Yeah, it's
And
unsafe. It's
yeah,
scary.
unsafe. It
Unsafe.
was not scared like, oh, but it really unsafe. And so I focused on being in my body again, drank my drink, and then two guys came up, and on the left side, two big, really big American guys, and they asked if they could sit at the table next to me, and I was like, yes, of course, it's free, so please sit down. So we started talking, and then I felt the moment. I just felt compelled. So I said to them, I have a very curious question to ask you guys, but this and this happened. I just kept it short. I didn't tell the whole story to them. I said, there's this really creepy guy, and I feel really unsafe, and I want to go home. So I want to order an Uber, but I want to make sure that I'm first, A, safely get into the Uber, and B, that he doesn't follow me, because if that happens, then he knows where I live and whatever, and I don't. That felt really wrong for me. So, and they checked it out, and they were right away like, yeah, he is a fucking creepy guy. So then I ordered the Uber, and the guy, he brought me to the Uber, and he said, if he tries to follow you, we will beat his ass. So it was really cute, and they really felt like guardian angels for me in that
Yeah.
moment. It was really the spirit of, like, you
Yeah.
know when you trust, there's
Yeah.
always help available.
Yeah.
Just have to trust and follow, for me, my instincts and my intuition. So in the end, it all worked out, and it was great. Or great. The experience in hindsight was really great. In the moment, it was, yeah, it was pretty. I felt very depleted afterwards with energy and whatever, because it really drained a lot of energy out of me.
Mhm.
Probably also because of the whole fight with your mind and the fear, and all the things you imagine can happen, and whoa, that takes a lot of energy out of your body, and whatever. So that was really interesting thing to experience. And later, of course, I'm sitting at home, and I was like, I felt safe again in my house, and I was like, okay, I'm good. I could really feel in my body that he didn't follow me or whatever. I could feel that the energy was out of my area, so that was great. And then the next day, my friend calls me up, and because what happened was, after the whole thing that happened there, apparently during that time, she was in contact with a friend in America who is, I don't know if it's really a psychic, or I don't know how you call that. She has connections with the other realm, and she gets messages. And while she was on the phone with her, she got a lot of, the girl started giving her all kinds of messages. And she was like, whoa, that's exactly what's happening with my friend right now. She's in this situation, blah, 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 blah. So apparently the next day, she called her again, like, where is your friend? You have to call her. You have to get her out of her house. And I didn't know that. I didn't know that that was happening. So, but in the same time, I was sitting at home and the whole day was great. There was nothing going on. I felt great and whatever. And then it was like, I don't know, the time doesn't even matter. Um, it was before sunset. That I don't know. um, and then all of a sudden, I'm just walking around in my house and I got that unsafe feeling again. And I was like, why? I'm in my house, I'm safe. So first was like, okay, checking in. Is this from, here? Is it an unsafe feeling in my body? Or is my mind trying to play tricks on me? So I went outside on the terrace and I sat down and I couldn't sit. My body kept moving, moving, moving. And I was like, that's not me. I'm not the moving kind. I like to sit and take my time, and that's more relaxing. So then she calls me, and I was walking around in the house feeling uneasy, and uneasiness. That's, I think it's the best way to describe it, an uneasiness and unsafe, like, I don't know. But I didn't make the connection at that time with the previous thing because I was like, he doesn't know where I'm living. So, that it couldn't be related, I thought. So she calls me and she says, honey, we are having some drinks on the rooftop. I want you to join us because my friend called me and she says, we have to get you out of the house. How are you feeling? And I said, well, this is actually very interesting because, like, in the last 15 to 10, 20 to 15 to 20 minutes, I got this uneasiness, felt unsafe. My body started moving, 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 and I couldn't make really clear for myself what I needed to do right now. So I said, yeah, I will just follow because if my body is in this shape and it's moving, then I probably should just, you are a messenger of some kind that I need to listen to. So I went away. And then the evening went great. We had a lot of fun. I came home, and when I came home, everything was okay again. So I felt, the moment I stepped into my house, everything was great. And so I was like, okay, it's done. It's over. It's okay. And I felt good. So yesterday, I went to the beach. I had a lovely brunch at the beach, enjoying some saxophonist music, and the waves crashing on the shore, and it was a really relaxing day. So I was really happy, and I'm come back home, and in the evening, I was tired, so I decided to stay home because first I would meet some friends, and I was like, no, I'm not. I'm not doing it. I need to listen to my body. If my body is saying it, I'm tired. I need to just chill and stay home. And then all of a sudden, that we have, I live in an apartment building, and we have, like, not right above me, but schuin. I don't know the words schuin in English, but like a little bit like this. There is another apartment, so it's a little bit further away from me. And they have two little Chihuahua dogs, and they are really quiet dogs. They only bark a little bit when the owner comes home because they're excited that he's coming home, but they never bark. So, and the owner, I believe he works at night, or he's always away at night, and the people above here were also gone. So I was alone in the building, and they start barking. Well, that sometimes happens, they hear something or whatever, but they barked for 1.5 hours.
Oh,
And in a way that I felt that something was off, really off. They had this high pitch barking, like that. And I was
yeah.
like, something is going on. And again, woof, you start to get in your mind. And my mind was like, oh, he found you, he's gonna kill you. And all things flooded in my mind, and I was like, do I go out? Because it's in, they forgot we have those lights in the hallway, But I think they're still on winter time. So up until 11 they are not on, and then it's very dark in the hallway. So I was like, everybody in my body was like, you're not going there, you're just not going there, because you're all totally alone in the building, there's no one around here. And I was like really feeling like, no, you're not going there. But I was also like, my mind and whatever was like, well, maybe the owner there, maybe he had a stroke or maybe a heart attack, and that's why the dogs are barking so loud, because they want to warn someone or whatever. I know that dogs can do such things. So that is all going through my mind, and I'm like, what if that's true and I didn't do anything? If I could help someone and I didn't do, how would I feel? And oh my God, it was a mess in my head. So finally, after like 45 minutes or something, I just was like, oh, Marish, get back in your body again. Get back in your body. Start to feel, because your instinct will tell you what to do. And so I started breathing, and I said, I put on some music, like relaxing music, and started breathing towards my body, towards my spleen. And I was like, okay, what do I feel? And there was no, I didn't feel unsafe. I didn't feel like I didn't need to do anything. I just needed to just be there. And I was like, okay, so I surrendered to the feeling. And of course, the mind occasionally tries to trick you, like, no, you have to do something, no, you have to do this, no, you have to do that, or like getting like the scary images in your mind, like, oh, what if he found you and whatever. So starting to get back and back and back, and then after like 1.5 hours they stopped barking, and I was like, how am I feeling? And I was like, yeah, I feel good. I feel safe. I don't feel like I need to do something. There's nothing that can harm me, because I felt also really protected somehow. Um, but it was an interesting experience for 2 days to, be confronted with such a fear, in the sense that, your mind makes you actually fear things. So, because when I was in my body, like I said, I wasn't fearing it. I was feeling the uneasiness and I was feeling unsafe, but it was different. It was not a fear
Mhm.
like thing. So, and that got me really, understanding how, when we are in the state of mind of fear, it can be so consuming, it can be so overwhelming, and you go down the rabbit hole of fear, and then everything, yeah, is getting worse and more worse and more worse, until you just or snap out of it, or for me, I needed to be really consciously saying to myself, no, I don't want to go there, I don't want to go to the rabbit hole of fear. I want to be in my body. I want to feel, and from there make the correct decision for me. So yeah, that was my weekend.
So that's a nice experiencing story. Yeah, you are getting, for my opinion and from my own view, you were getting lessons in trusting
Oh yeah,
and staying in your body and observing what's going on and not being tricked into stories, because stories are a lot of different things. Yeah, you can have stories, but you can really have an experience, and an experience is different from a story.
yeah,
And yeah, this is, and I've actually feel and believe that you were uh, those three things were related to each other by this experience, not by actually being in danger, but experiencing danger. And for yeah, and danger is pretty easy. Is a pretty easy way to get into stories and get out of your experience. And so you are also alone. You had a partner for a long time, and now you are by yourself in for you a strange country.
Yeah.
And Yeah, so it creates a kind of vulnerability. So you are kind of vulnerable, and then you start to experience. And I believe, yeah, somehow I feel that your heart is opening up. So there might be a lot of experiencing inside you who didn't get the opportunity to be felt in your body, because you were immediately went to the story
Yeah.
part. And uh, and I think and I believe that he was like, he was helping you, the guy was helping you for by experience some kind of creepiness. And I don't he could even be not a creep at all, but he was like a messenger for you about creepiness. So you experienced unsafetyness, and then you were able and you were working hard to stay in your body. And from staying into your body, you experienced things, and you are not creating a story, but you experienced unsafetyness and what you had to experience at that time. And I think that the first time was not enough. So the second time, you needed it a second time, and then you were at home. And this one for me, it is very important, because you made a very huge and very important gesture, because your home is your safety place. And by not creating stories, but in your home, but staying in your experience, that somehow you created for yourself a safety place in your home. And you did not condition yourself um, by creating stories. Because if you were going to the story part in your house, then your house wouldn't be safe anymore. Then, because this is how it works with conditioning, you have the mind conditioning and the mind part, but you also have the body part. And yeah, yeah, this is a physical part of conditioning. Because the physical part of conditioning is, if you are conditioned and your body. So I can explain.
Please do, because
um,
this is interesting.
yeah, I think by seeing your body language, this is new for you. Yeah, if you were um, if you were getting yourself into the story part in your house, then your body will connect your house with the stories and with unsafetyness. So your you have your body has a system, a flight and fright system, and it creates adrenaline, and it creates cortisol, and it's like it's how do you say it? It's a survival mechanism, and this survival mechanism is also uh, physical. There's also a physical part in it. So if you if you didn't stay safe, if you didn't stay in your body and you created the story part, you would create a survival mechanism inside of your body uh, during this whole situation. So your home, your house, will become a trigger part for your body to say, "Oh, I have to be in a flight and fright mode." So you prevented yourself by doing this. You prevented yourself, from moving out of your house or getting getting some therapy of releasing the conditioning, because there's actually there's also a conditioning part of the physical thing. And I gave therapy to people, and once I had a person, and he or she, I get it very neutral because I can't share specialized things, but he or she had experienced a very unsafe thing. I can really tell you it was a robbery. It was and he or she had a gun pointed on their head. So, but most of the people are not aware of the fact that the body also creates a flight and fright thing and a physical part of the whole situation. So the robber, he or she wore a panty. So this person whole life was afraid. He noticed, or she noticed, some tension when he or she saw a pantyhose, or even dresses or things like that related to the pantyhose. And the person didn't understand why there was so much tension, or actually this person gained weight because of that, because the body started to create some kind of
Protection.
safetyness,
Yeah.
protection. So this is, I think, and I feel, the whole situation part. And you, by staying out of the story part, prevent yourself from being conditioned and from getting into the physical part. And I know some stories about you, and I know that you had a history of things like that, being a history in physical uneasiness by getting conditioned. And I somehow believe that um, they showed you a way
Out of
of,
it.
of get out of this whole conditioning thing, of your past?
Yeah, first, thank you, because this is really enlightening. I made so many connections with your story right now. Um, as I don't know if I ever mentioned it here, but I am a sexual abuse survivor, and so this whole part of you telling yourself a story, and it's not even consciously that you're doing or that you're telling the story, of course, because this happened to me when I was a child. But there was this incident that happened in the shower, and so it even showed up way later, like 30 years later. Well, 20 years, not 30, 20 years later, that I would be in the shower, and if my ex or my husband, ex-husband, would step into the shower, so only open the door, I would get be like this, like my body would tense, and I would be, I would, yeah, get a shock reaction, and that developed even worse and worse and worse over time because I couldn't, deal with it, and that in that moment. So yeah, now you're sharing this, and that makes all of a sudden so much more sense, because it's the also the I think we have a body memory. It's also the fight and flight, but it's also a body memory that is stuck somewhere, and it can even grow, I
Yeah,
believe.
it's a body memory. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what
exactly.
I meant. Yeah.
So I didn't. It didn't cross my mind that the whole experience now was about that. So thank you for that, because yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I also I had a home
Yeah, burglary.
burglary
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
when I was 18, and I just lived there. So I would just moved out of the house. I had my own house, and I was really proud of that. And they broke in through the balcony, and they stole all our Christmas presents under the tree.
Oh,
And a lot of other stuff. But it's yeah.
it's
So
unsafe.
yeah, exactly. And like you said, what happened was I needed to get out of that house, because every time I was there, I felt more unsafe and more
Yeah,
unsafe because of the stories. You're telling yourself the story. They are coming back. They are doing this. They are
yeah.
doing that, and blah 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 blah. So yeah, that's. I thank you so much for.
And your house, your body memory, your house is the trigger point for your
Yeah,
body memory. So
exactly.
yeah, so
When
this
I
is
came in the house, always there was this uneasiness, like,
yeah,
oh, did they rob me again, or
yeah,
did they try to come
yeah,
in again? So you
yeah,
always were on red alert.
yeah.
And also every noise, you would lay in the bed, even later in a totally different house, because I was like you said, I was in a relationship, so most of the time I was always together with someone in the bedroom when I was sleeping.
Mhm.
But if you would be on a business trip, for example, I would have a hard time sleeping. I would do all the doors extra close, extra locks on it.
Mhm.
I would every noise that I normally, don't even pay attention to. I would be like on red alert, like, oh, they're trying to get in. They're trying to get in again. So as the years progressed, that only became worse, not less. So that's also I don't know why is that, because it was not like I was consciously thinking about it the whole time.
It's the body, my darling. It's the body. You get triggered all the time, but you are not aware that you are triggered,
Yeah,
and that's the whole point. Because and if I can ask you some questions about the guy that in your childhood that abused you, sexually abused you, and are there some similar lookalikes, or the guy who was looking at you? So there, I think there were some trigger points. So maybe this guy was not a creep, but like I told you, but he had some trigger points. He had some things that triggered you and your body of this memory, what happened a long time ago, and that made it that that made the connection with the unsafetyness. And maybe it's the way of, yeah, what I would say, the way he was looking at you. Actually, if somebody looks at you all the time, it's a kind of, this kind of guy, this person comes
In your
into
space.
your space,
Yeah.
uninvited, uninvited. So this was already the trigger point for you, because it was uninvited. A rape is uninvited. So it's, you don't need anything else to make the connection, because the uninvitedness is already there. And then your body starts to be alert, and you start to feel things, and you have to, and then, yeah, and then again. But you did it very well, because you really, actually forced yourself to stay into the position, to stay to stay in the situation, and to feel, and not to think, because not to go there, to go to your head and to go outside. No, no, feel. And when you feel, you start to open up your heart, and then you will be able to really heal the whole thing. You will probably have lots of therapy sessions on this, but the sessions, they don't, what I was what I found out, and I use that in my therapy. I'm not a therapist, no, I didn't learn for it, but I literally gain this knowledge from not also experience, but also by the well. And so if you I forgot, I lost track. Maybe you can inform me what I
Yeah,
was.
I'm thinking also. You said that you discovered something in with therapy.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. I discovered the whole physical part, and the physical part that's not always recognized by people. The people in general, they recognize, and they give space, they give the time for uh, the the mind part, but the it's not the mind, but the spirit part, the spirit and the mind, the what you need to, yeah, it's, you need to get away of the experience. But there's, then the experience, it's not only in the spirit, but it's also in the in the body. And then if you get rid of the conditioning of the body part, then you really are released and free from the things that happen to you. So I think your body part thing was, you lacked that part, and you need to have consciousness and reconditioning of that part. And I can tell you, you are reconditioning yourself now. You don't need me or somebody else. Maybe you needed this conversation to get more awareness, but you did your job yourself, by yourself. And not only by yourself, of course, but you created, you get into the flow, and you created the universe to, the necessity help, because you created the two strong guys. You created your friend, who's telling you, okay, you're telling you this, or getting you out of the house. There was not really maybe a real danger at the moment in your house, but there was maybe the danger of you creating the stories again. So, and And then by getting you out of the house, it prevented you getting the stories again, and things like that. So yeah, I and I don't, yeah, you can expect more things happening like this, and getting the whole thing of reconditioning your body part refined and refined and refined until you're completely done.
I love this. It resonates really. Yeah. For me, this is thank you for all this, because there's a lot of clarity coming in right now, and especially the healing part. Um, the also like the I did a lot of therapy in my years, but also a lot of physical work. So I already was doing the combination. But I have a lot of situations since I'm here in Mexico that are confront. I told you in some of the previous talks that I was confronted with the most dangerous snake here and the most dangerous like lizard type, and I was just super calm and like really grounded, and it didn't do anything with me actually. And that was also like for me becoming conscious of how far I have come along, and how good it is to just trust in yourself, because if you just trust yourself, there's always an answer,
Yeah.
but not an answer from the mind. There's always an answer to what is the next step. What is the
Yeah.
next step? And what is the next step? So it literally is like a step-by-step guide without knowing the guide.
Yes.
Because like the mind tries to get step by step, and it wants A to Z, and it wants it right away. And when you're, well, what I experience when I live from the body, I also get step by step, but I never know where I'm ending. So I never know what's next step and what's the next step. I just have to wait and see, it will happen. So yeah, that's actually, yeah, this is, thank you for your insights. And this makes a lot of sense, and it helps me in a way, because now I can even more quickly
Yeah.
make
Now
that
you are aware.
connection. Exactly, now I can make that connection even quicker, so the experiences that I will go through are even less heavy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just, yeah, it's not really the word, but you understand what I mean by it. So yeah, interesting. And I can use it also with, because another thing that's going on is that all of a sudden I have a lot of unexpected costs in my life. And I have, of course, every people, or most people, you get so much income every month, and you have to do everything with that income. It's not more or less. And so all of a sudden I have these things happening with my money. And I was just sitting here yesterday, and I was like thinking about how I was like five, 2 years ago, even with money, and the panic would start getting in, like, oh, how am I going to pay for everything, and how am I going to do this, and how am I going to do that. And also I think it's exactly the same mechanism that starts to work. You start to tell yourself all kinds of stories
Mhm. Yeah.
about what could go wrong, how it could go wrong, in how many ways, and whatever. And I just caught myself, going that way, like, oh, scarcity, oh, you're not going to have enough, and you cannot do this, and you cannot do that. And I'm not, I am a firm believer in, I believe in abundance, and if you just follow your flow, you'll always have enough. But I
Yes.
also believe that sometimes you need to be cautious, and not in a story kind of way, but just following your instinct. If your instinct says, okay, just dial it a little bit down, don't give out too much money this week, just listen to it. And in other weeks you can feel like, okay, can I do this? Yeah. And if you get it, yeah, you just do it. If you're splenic like me, I get in the moment reactions. So I was looking at that yesterday, and I felt this also again in my body, this real like trust, like you know do whatever, we got your back. There's always enough, there's always more than enough, just trust it. And it is so, how do you call that? Liberating
Yeah.
when you're living your life with this trust that you always will have enough. And that if you follow your inner authority, which for everybody is different, that things will get clear for you. If you're an emotional, it can take like 24 hours to just go through the motions of the emotional wave, but all the other authorities are pretty in the moment happening, or you talk about it and you get clarity, and then you follow that flow. And because we yeah, when you're now connecting this, I can see totally that when you're telling those stories about financials, and your body is getting conditioned then too, like, oh, I don't have enough, and
Yeah.
your body starts to tense up, and all kinds
Mhm.
of other things will happen in your body. And then even when you look at money or you look at your wallet, you will get anxious, like, so the body is reacting to that. So I love the connection that you made here today in this talk, because it's massive. This is a massive connection. If people get aware of this, I would people please start experimenting with this, because when you get aware of this happening in your life, you can, yeah, like she says, recondition your life in the other way, in abundant and in whatever way, and not by only dreaming it up. It's
No,
work.
no, no.
It's work, it's work in progress, and not work like, oh, I have to do this 10 times a day. No, it's just work in the sense that becoming aware and experimenting with, okay, what is happening. And my best advice was like a couple of weeks ago with the whole relationship thing that was going on, that my Monique said to me, step one step back and start observing the situation instead of being in the situation. And I would really, really love that. Try it. Just try it out. Start stepping out of a situation. And I believe last week, I cannot remember it quite clearly, but I think something was said by you also about stepping back, getting a more overall picture, getting more in the observant mode, and then you're detaching yourself. Oh, yeah, now I get it. You're detaching your mind from your body when you do that. You become the observer, you become the third person, and you see the mind for what it is, and you see the body for what it is. And then yeah, oh, wow,
Yeah. And I I would like to add something what you just said,
please.
because yeah, there is abundance. Of course, there's abundance, but why is there abundance? What is the key of the abundance in the world? The key is divine creation, because if you and if you can, and what is divine creation? Divine creation is in respect, and is creation by the heart. If you completely stay in your heart and let the universe and let the whole process do its job, and you just have to respond on situations or signs or whatever, and you go on that one, and you go on and on. It's like a package deal, like I told you last time. It's a package deal, and you just do, you find the steps, and if by doing so you are creating on a divine way. And everything, there is all the there's a big nothing, there's a big nothing, and in the big nothing everything can be created. So there's nothing and there's everything, so everything is like abundance. So if you trust and you need something, and yes, I absolutely can agree with the uh, financial part and the conditioning part, because I experienced a lot of this in during my life. I lost so much money because of other people, and not of other people, of course. I was not a victim, but I have a conditioning on that part of losing money and having nothing, and I was living with less. I was you know you have a poverty line in the Netherlands. They call it a poverty line, and I was way below that. Uh, and it is actually it is due to my profile, like the free five. So I am I have I am very creative with solving problems out of the box. So because of that, I was always finding answers to the poverty, and I found everywhere solutions. But it was kind of hard to do, and yeah, it's not easy, but
Challenging, yeah.
challenging. Yeah, it's challenging. But I know how to do it on a different way. But now I've still found some conditioning things in my body. Even when I am busy with creating divine creation on on the financial part in my life, and every time when I do that, I find myself in tension, and my whole body felt tensed, and I was nervous, and I felt anxiety and things like that. And even thank you for bringing this topic, because the well was talking, but I it also works for me, because now I can see for myself that, okay, Chris, you just, and I found myself doing the same thing like you. I felt the tension, and I stayed in my trust and stayed in the body and said, okay, you don't need to know. And if you feel too much tension, do a step back, be the observer, and let everything do its thing.
Yeah.
Stay away from the process, stay away, and see yourself doing the things, because you are getting too much caught up, and you are triggered too much. So you need to do a step back, so you can stay out of the whole thing, and you can stay in the middle of the storm and not being captured and creating other stories. So yeah, this is what is going to, yeah.
Yeah, I want to add something.
Yes, okay.
Um, yeah, because when you said, I can understand that people are watching this. They're like, yeah, but it's not done in one day. No, it isn't. So the first thing you can start experimenting with is to stop at least with the new stories for yourself. So
Yes,
and then later on you will get aware of the former stories that you told yourself. Please don't, that's what I did. Don't try to sit down and analyze everything, because you will not get the answers. Life is giving you every opportunity to solve every story that is made for you, or that you made, sorry, that you made, and the connections that you made with your body. Because look at my situation with the things that happened now. I wasn't analyzing anything, it just came on my path. So now apparently I was ready to go through this and not create a new story to it.
yes,
And
yes,
well, and for me, maybe it happened quick. I don't know. It can be the same for you. It can be different. It can be a
yeah,
couple of days, can be a couple of months in between before there's a click like, oh, this happened or this happened. But it's not about that. So because that's the mind wanting answers. I know I'm so familiar with the mind wanting answers. It always wants answers. But the answers lie within you, not in your head, but in your body. And so just start experimenting with the first time there's a situation coming up, and step out of the situation, put yourself one step back, and only focus on not creating a new story. Nothing else.
and
Just that.
And
And
feel
then,
what you have to
exactly,
feel.
and then you can go to your heart. But first, you have to consciously say to your mind, no, I
Yeah,
don't want to create a story. And then you give yourself space and room to breathe,
yeah,
first of all.
yeah.
And then you have the room to start feeling. And, it's practice. I didn't do this like that. I'm experimenting already for 7 years. So, things take time, and sometimes things can go really quickly, and sometimes it takes a longer period. I had an epiphany yesterday about something that's like 4 years ago, that I was like, oh, that was that, and all of a sudden I get that answer, and I'm just grateful, and then that's it. I don't, because you can create a story about that too, by the way. I now get it. Ah, that's funny. Wow, you can create a lot of stories with a lot of things.
Yes.
Wow, this is a very powerful talk, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know about you, but for me, this is a really, really powerful talk. There's a lot of golden nuggets in here. So, yeah, please watch it over and over again. Save this. Save this one, because I think it can be helpful to just go back and listen to it one more time, just to, the more you hear things, you can fill your mind with good stuff too, so the mind will, when you try to create stories, it will bring you back to this story or this talk, and you remember. So, wow, Chris, I love this. Thank you so much.
You're
Yeah.
welcome. Thank you for the story. Thank you for your experience, for informing. Thank you for informing your experience, because of that, the well was working with me, and then things came up, and also my experience with clients and things like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, it's very nice. I really like it. Yeah, yeah,
Well, let's stop it, because we are
yeah,
already over the hour. But yeah, this
yeah.
was a yeah, we had to finish this, because you cannot end this somewhere in between. That's not possible.
No,
So
no, it's not.
if you're watching, thank you for bearing with us for over an hour. I hope it was an easy hour, because I believe it would be an easy hour if you're listening back to this, because everything was it felt for me in flow. And so they gave me a lot of energy, gave me a lot of insights, beautiful insights. And so, yeah, just like, subscribe, and look back at our previous talks. We have a lot more talks with a lot more topics. And yeah, there's always something there probably for you to find. Check out the names of the topics, because it's set in the title what it is about. So the three most important things we talked about during a talk, so you can just feel what comes up for you and which one you want to, yeah, look at, because I can imagine you don't want to have all the information at once, because that's an overload for most and for me. So, Chris, thank you so much. Do you want to say something to the audience also?
No, I say bye bye, and have a great evening or morning or afternoon or whatever, wherever you are, and enjoy life and enjoy your experiences. And of course, the people with the three in the profile, they have the and the six, they experiencing a lot. But yeah, just enjoy life, and like last time, enjoy being you.
Yes. Bye bye.
Bye.